Alright, so what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be going over quiz number 4, dealing with completing the square. I'm going to try to unpause the video here. Apparently my voice did not get recorded while I was doing this, so we're going to go ahead and just record this. So right now we are in standard form right here, 2x squared plus 13x plus 20, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, and we're going to have to change that to vertex form. Right? And vertex form is a parentheses x minus h close parentheses squared plus k. So we're going to have to find the different values that go into those empty boxes. Alright, so we're going to change f of x to y equals. We're going to make it y equals 2x squared plus 13x plus 20. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to factor out a 2. So you'll watch me factor out a 2 here. I'll do 2 open parentheses. It'll be x squared plus, and when you divide 13 by 2, it's going to be 13 over 2x. Plus, we're going to put an empty box to complete the square, and we're going to move the 20 over. Now, I'm going to make a mistake while doing this. Alright? And so we'll see me make a mistake, but that's okay. The process I'm doing is the correct process, but I'll accidentally mess up a number. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other side. So that's going to be the c value, which we're going to be using to complete the square. We're going to have to take half the b value, and the b value is 13 over 2. Alright? Well, we're going to have to multiply that, once we find our c value, we've got to multiply it by 2. So that's actually going to be 2 times c right there. Alright? So here we go. What we're going to do is we'll take the b value, which is 13 over 2, and we are going to take half of it, so we're going to multiply it by a half, and then we are going to square it, which will become 13 over 4 squared, which becomes 169 over 16. So that's what we're going to put in for the c value, 169 over 16. And then on the other side, we're going to do 169 over 8. And you'll see how we do this, okay? Because when you double 169 over 16, it actually becomes 169 over 8. So we multiply it by 2 over 1, and that 2 goes into 16 a total of 8 times. And so that's why I put 169 over 8. So here's what I have. 169 over 8 equals plus y equals 2 open parentheses x squared plus 13 over 2 x plus 169 over 16. Close parentheses. And here's where I make a mistake. For some reason, I put plus 50. I don't know why I put plus 50. I was supposed to put plus 20, and that's going to make me get the whole problem wrong, but, you know, at least you'll learn from my mistake. But we are going to factor this correctly. So this right here, we are going to factor this correctly to x plus 13 over 4 close parentheses squared. Alright? And so we're going to put a 2 out in front. For some reason I put plus 50 when I should have put plus 20. But you'll see me get it wrong here in just a little bit. 169 over 8 plus y. So the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 169 over 8 from both sides, which is what you're supposed to do. But I'm supposed to have been taking that away from 20 instead of 50. And so you'll see me put in Desmos 50 minus 169 over 8, and then I'll change that to a fraction and get 231 over 8. And so I will type that in the Khan Academy here, but here's what it would look like in vertex form if for some reason that was a plus 50 instead of a plus 20. Alright, so here's where I made my mistake. Now, everything's correct except for the y value of the vertex. And that's mainly because right here I should have put in a 20, but I put a 50 in for some crazy reason. So you'll see that if the constant, the y value, would have been at 50, then I did everything correctly and found the correct answer in vertex form with the 231 over 8. And you'll see that these end up matching the same parabola. Okay. The only problem was that's supposed to be a 20, not a 50 right here. So, but if this was the original equation, this would be the equation in vertex form for the second equation. And we'll go over here, and I'll type it in. Now the 2 is correct. The 13 over 4 is correct, but the final number is not, because that's supposed to be a 20, and I should have noticed that, but I didn't, because I was not paying attention. And look what happens when you don't pay attention. You hit check and you go, oops, give it another shot. So, like, wait a second, what did I do? I did everything right. Interesting. Oh, it's supposed to be a 20, not a 50. That's right. Oh, well. Yeah, look what happens now. I'm like, oh, I'm going to delete that. That can't be right. 20. Oh, I'm just figuring it out now. Look at that. Oh, look at that. I put a 50. It's supposed to be a 20. Oh, well. Gonna watch this all erase that. Come on. Hurry up, Damood. Get that erased. Come on. There you go. Erase that 50. There you go. Put a 20. Alright. Erase that 50. Yep. Put a 20. There you go. Now we got to do 20 minus 169 over 8, and that's going to change our final answer. Now, the reason I'm leaving this in here is to help you learn from my mistakes. I mean, I actually did the right process. I just used the wrong numbers. So, there we go. 20. Now I'll change it. And we'll do 20 minus 169 over 8. There we go. That's negative 9 over 8. There you go. Then I'll type it in. Perfect. Now I will end up getting this problem right. Look at there. There, I finally got it right. There we go. Alright, so now we're going to show you how to graph this equation. Alright? So right now it's in standard form. So in standard form, the one thing that it does give you is the y-intercept. Alright, so you'll see me point out the y-intercept right there. There's that negative 4. That's the y-intercept. Alright, 0, negative 4. So that's one of the points I'm going to use, is 0, negative 4. Now the next thing you're going to see me do is I am going to write x equals negative b over 2a. Now the purpose of negative b over 2a is to find what's known as the axis of symmetry. And the axis of symmetry always passes through the vertex. So if I can find the axis of symmetry, then I can take that number, plug it back into the equation, and find the y value of the vertex. There we go. So there's my y-intercept, 0, negative 4. I've identified my a value, my v value, and my c value, which allows me to plug in a negative 1 in parentheses, and then 2 times my a value, which is negative 1 over 8. Those negatives cancel each other out, so I'm left with 1 over 2 times 1/8, which is 1/4. And then if you multiply both sides by the reciprocal, which is 4 over 1, and 4 over 1, you get x equals 4. X equals 4. So there's my axis symmetry. I just drew my axis symmetry right there, that vertical line, x equals 4. Now what are we going to do? Now we're going to take negative 1/8. I'm going to open up the parentheses, plug in a 4, square it, plus open parentheses 4, close parentheses, minus 4. I'm going to evaluate that. That's going to give me my y value for my vertex. So negative 1/8, parentheses, 16, plus 4, minus 4. Of course, 4 minus 4, that zeroes out. So we get negative 1/8 times 16. And that's negative 2. Plus 4 minus 4. Oh, there's my y value, negative 2. So my other point is going to be a 4 and a negative 2. 4 and negative 2 and 0 and negative 4. Those are my 2 points that I'm going to use to plug in. The vertex being 4 and negative 2. That's going to be my highest point, or my maximum, that I got to make sure that I plug in, or use one of those green dots that you see on the screen and move those around. Those are what I'm going to be doing here. Next, got to move those dots around, move them around. Scroll down a little bit. Come on, you got to go 4, negative 2. Come on, keep going down. There you go. 0, negative 4, 4, negative 2. Boom. That's what the graph looks like, and the axis symmetry is going to go straight through that vertex. All right, straight through. You'll see me draw a line. There's my axis symmetry, x equals 4. Beautiful. All right, I'm feeling good. Then I'll probably show you how to do it in Desmos, so you can check your work. Please use Desmos to check your work. Don't allow Desmos to do everything for you. Otherwise, you're really not learning the math. It'll catch up with you sometime when all the calculators are taken away and you have to do it by hand. I want to make sure you know how to do it by hand. But Desmos is a great way to check your work, so I'm typing it in. There we go. Zooming out a little bit. There we go. There's my vertex, 4, negative 2, and there's my y-intercept, 0, negative 4. Now I can feel confident that the Khan Academy will count my answer correct this time. Boom! Got it. All right, what's the missing comp? Now this one's easy, because all you got to do is just take half the 6 and square it, because the b value is 6. So when you're completing the square, you always take half the b value and you square it. So I'm going to put an empty box right here. Half of 6 is 3. 3 squared is 9. I'm going to put a 9 in that box. Take half the b value, square it. What's our b value? Our b value is 6. Do 6 divided by 2. Squared equals 3 squared, which is 9. There you go. Write it in. And that's as easy as it gets right there. It doesn't get much easier than that. Come on, type in a 9. Bam. Click it. All right, there we go. All right, now this one's a little bit more difficult. We're trying to figure out how many seconds after the ball is thrown will it hit the ground. So we've got a parabola where it goes up and then comes back down and hits the ground. All right. So I'm going to make a little sketch here. It's not going to be a perfectly accurate sketch, but it's going to be a sketch. So right there, that's my y-intercept. That's at a 16, because you can clearly see that the c value is 16. Ball goes up to its maximum, then eventually hits the ground. Boom, right there. That's the 0 we're looking for, right there. That's the 0. All right, and so we're going to figure out how many seconds after it's thrown does the ball hit the ground at the 0. That's the x-axis, that's the y-axis. All right. Sometimes the question will ask you for the y-intercept, which is 16. Sometimes it'll ask you for the maximum, which is right there. There's the maximum point, all right, which has an x value and a y value. All right, that's the maximum. But in this particular case, you're looking for the 0. All right. So what are we going to do? We're going to set h of x equal to 0. So here we go. We're going to write. Put down a little bit. Have a little room for writing. Put 0 equals negative 2x squared plus 4x plus 16. All right, divide everything by negative 2. So I get 0 equals x squared minus 2x minus 8. Now, the reason I divide everything by negative 2, it allows me to factor this a lot easier. So watch when I factor this. We're looking for two numbers that add up together to equal negative 2. And those same exact two numbers multiply together to equal negative 8. What are those two numbers? What two numbers add together to equal negative 2? and multiply together to equal negative. Looks like I found them. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2, and negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Those work, so the factors are x minus 4 and x plus 2. Well, what are the zeros? What number minus 4 is 0? And what number plus 2 is 0? Well, 4 minus 4 is 0, and negative 2 plus 2 is 0. So those are my solutions. But I'm only going to use the 4 because that's the most reasonable answer. After 4 seconds, it's going to hit the ground. So here we go. Probably going to type it into Desmos just so you guys can see how you can check it. There we go. Plus 4x. Plus 16. There we go. There's my parabola. You can clearly see the zeros right there at 4. That's going to be my answer, so you can see that it's correct. There's the other 0, negative 2, which doesn't make any sense, because we can't go back in time. Not negative 2 seconds. All right, and then you can also see my y-intercept and my vertex. There's my y-intercept 0, 16, and there's my vertex 1, 18, which basically means after 1 second, it would reach a maximum height of 18, either feet or meters. And there's my 0, 4. So I'm going to type in a 4. It's in meters, so 18 was the highest maximum. Boom. There we go. Now we're going to graph this equation. All right. Now, how are we going to graph this equation? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to use our y-intercept, which is at 0 and 3. That's the first point, 0 and 3. All right, 0 and 3. We're going to use that because that's our constant at the end. There we go, 0, 3. And then what we're going to do is we are going to use x equals negative b over 2a, and we're going to find our axis of symmetry, which allows us to find our vertex, which is going to be the minimum value this time. So x equals negative b over 2a. We got to identify a, b, and c. Our a value is going to be 2. B value is negative 8, and our c value is 3. There we go. So c value is 3, a value is 2, b value is negative 8. There we go. Now we're going to plug it in. A negative times negative is a positive. I'll put negative, open parentheses, negative 8. There we go. Over 2 times a, which is 2 times 2. Negative times negative is a positive, so we get 8 over 4 and equals 2. That means our axis of symmetry is x equals 2, which will be a vertical line straight through that parabola right there at the 2. Going up and down. All right, so what are we going to do now? We're going to take that number, we're going to plug it into the equation. So you're going to see me do, come on, 2, open parentheses, come on, 2, open parentheses, we're going to plug in a 2, we're going to square it, minus 8, open parentheses, 2, plus 3. We're going to figure out what the y value is for our vertex. So 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16, plus 3. So 8 minus 16 is negative 8, and negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. So negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. There we go. We found our y value right there for our vertex. We're going to plot those 2 points, 0, 3, and 2, negative 5. And we will call this video complete here in just a second. There we go. There's 2, 2, negative 5. Move the other dot over to 0 and 3, and now we're feeling pretty dadgum good about our answer. Okay? Oh, looks like I'm typing into Desmos just to check it, just to make sure we didn't mess up. Okay? All right, plus 3. There we go. Let's check out that vertex and the y-intercept. Zoom out just a bit. There we go. Zooming out. There we go. Let's check it out. 0, 3, 2, negative 5. Looks like I did it correctly. Whew. Good job. No mistakes here. Looking good. Hit check. All right. And that's how it's done. You all have a good day. Looks like I'm just showing you all the different things. Completing the square. Talk to you about why I messed up there because I put a 50 instead of a 20. Don't know why. But we got everything taken care of.